Once I do that, then I go back to Instagram. Tiny.
Welcome to PNN KEXU Po People's Revolutionary Radio on 96.1 FM on the dial in Oakland and streaming live online at www.pomagazine.org/radio. This is Dee Allen, your co-host, formerly houseless, poverty scholar, and land liberator with Po Poet and Homefulness /Po Magazine in the studio with Po Poets and formerly houseless poverty scholars, Tani and Mutiato.
Yeah, this is PNN, not CNN, people. That's Poor People's Revolutionary Radio, live and direct, broadcast unpimped, unplayed, unbought, unsold from this small part of Mama Earth that we houseless people call homefulness, a homeless people's solution to homelessness. We on the ones and twos tonight, and it's always a struggle. Always a struggle. We in this really small, beautiful studio that we're blessed to have because this is liberated land. Speaking our own voices, but we want to start in a good way tonight by thanking the First Nations people of this occupied and stolen land. We want to shout out and call in all of our warriors from this particular land is Ohlone Lishan land, from any of the other warriors from all of the other places on occupied Mama Earth. Wanted to thank you for taking care of her so well and still being here, demanding land back, water back, and all of these stolen and extracted resources back so our communities can live and thrive. Oh, Mateo.
Right, three things about people getting their paper things done to be a citizen here, and they're getting arrested.
Yep. And is that okay?
No.
Yeah. Avery, what are we doing here today?
What are we doing?
Trying to make sure people are safe, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to make sure.
Exactly. What?
Ice is bad.
That's right. Okay. Hold up, guys. We're going to come over here. You can turn it on. Hey, family.
You just heard youth poverty scholar reporters from Decolonize Academy, Po Magazine reporting and supporting the resistance actions at 100 Montgomery, standing up to relatives from the other sides of the false colonial borders. At Decolonize Academy, this is school for our youth scholars who we tell the truth about all the lies of this stolen land. Up next, we will play some of the interviews they did, and then we will talk about the worsening violence of the colonial terrorists called ICE. That's ICE. Then a special Po Poets offering in resistance to the upcoming Oakland City Council hearing tomorrow about a new legislation that will make it illegal to be houseless in Oakland.
It didn't work. We're having technical difficulties. Anything else? That's going to start with that? Okay.
And why did you come here today? So I'm here today because ICE has been coming to immigration courts, the one here at 100 Montgomery and the one at 630 Sansom, to abduct people after they leave their hearings or appointments. So people are coming here trying to immigrate to the United States. They're following the rules and laws, and ICE is still taking that as an opportunity to take them away from their families and communities. So we're here because we believe that, ICE being inside of courthouses is an intimidation tactic to where people now, they even want to self-deport. It's so scary to be in an ICE detention center. They'd rather, leave out of fear of that. So it's an intimidation tactic. And what we are doing here is forming a protective presence to let immigrants know that we want them here and that we care for them, and that we'll take a stand against ICE brutality. So that's why I'm there. I'm here because I love immigrants and I love everyone. I believe everyone deserves life and freedom.
All right.
And then the next one.
I'm Corazon. AZON. Nice.
So what are you here for?
So I'm here to take a stand against ICE.
Oh. Yeah. So
I-
what?
To take a stand against ICE.
Okay.
All right. Can you explain to everybody
Yeah.
what ICE is?
Yeah. So ICE stands for Immigration.
Customs.
Customs Enforcement. Thank you. So Immigration Customs Enforcement. So, and they've only been around, that as an agency has only been around since 2003. So some of you guys might be older than ICE is, right? I'm older than ICE is. And so what that means to us is that this is a new thing, and for us to understand it from a decolonial lens means that we understand that we're in this era of the United States wanting to make America white as possible. They're scared by the fact that there's more Black and brown people here, that we're rising in our power. And so ICE is an agency to ethnically cleanse brown and Black people from this land. And they're going to use all this language around laws and immigration laws. They're really to break an immigration law, even coming here right without documents. Really, there's no justification to then put that person in jail indefinitely, right? What did they do? They didn't hurt anyone. They didn't steal anything. People are coming here to live their life, contribute to the economy, contribute to our society and culture. So really, there's no crime and there's no justification to imprison those people just for coming here to live their life. Thank you.
So you just heard some of the powerful youth poverty scholars from Decolonize Academy. For us, as formerly houseless and houseless Indigenous teachers and mamas and uncles and aunties and papas, we believe that our teachers and our students need to know the truth about this stolen land. So this beautiful visit today was school, where they stood with fellow relatives, refusing to let this violent colonial terror terrorize our relatives from the other sides of the false border, to bring us into a conversation about this terror that we're dealing with at this moment. Our beautiful brother Mote, poet, has a poem for us.
¿Cuál es el pinche sueño americano? El mismo sueño que todos oímos, pero pocos logramos. El mismo sueño que tiene a tanta gente viniendo. El mismo sueño que tiene a tanta gente muriendo. What is the American dream? Families risking their life for the American dream. The same dream that we all hear about, but only a few of us get to see. The same dream the America lets you see. The same dream that kills hundreds of people every year. What is the American dream?
Oh, Mateo. Again, As it's a beautiful poem by Mute, is a poet and a powerful warrior, one of the land liberators of hopefulness, and also a good son and a teacher. And the engineer right here on the ones and twos. That's how we do. We wear like 19 hats, or maybe 900 over here at Hopefulness. Welcome to our world. But anyway, we Po folks, we're gonna do it no matter what, okay? But that said, the Americlan dream, we know it's what I rename it, is really a nightmare for so many of our relatives. Right now, as we know, we want to send out prayers and energy to our relatives in Chicago. Again, indigenous territory, a beautiful place where black leadership is part of that territory. And that mayor has said no to the Cracker King. But we know and have gotten reports from family on the ground that they're already hit the ground running with these colonial terror agents. There is kidnappings, as the sister talked about. And I just want to shout out to the warriors at Sansome, at 100 Montgomery, who are standing there every day. Also an invitation to relatives in the Bay Area to Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 4:30. They are out there. Join them. They need more bodies and humans to stand in resistance to this terror. It does matter. When I was there were literally unmarked cars and agents who did a U-turn in the middle of a one-way street just to leave because they didn't want the heat. So it does matter. Our bodies do matter. But in this moment, I wanted to open it up to conversation with my family here about just the way that this is landing. We know that in California, we've already been terrorized in occupied Tabongar, shouting out again to all the warriors up and down this so-called state that have been standing against and resisting. But did you want to say anything about how you felt, or Dee, or any of you all? Start with you, Moot. And maybe Weston wants to weigh in.
We'll just thank you and salute to all the warriors who actually are standing up, like the sister warrior was saying, of the kidnapping of our people, the kidnapping in folks in our community. And again, for me, is the hypocrisy, right, of these colonizers who came here illegally in 1492, and somehow, because they drafted laws which they produced and created with the barrel of a gun, and in reservations, and the stealing of this indigenous land and the use of slavery, of African American brothers and sisters to build this nation. And again, a nation of indigenous people, that themselves, the people now who are calling us undocumented migrants, themselves are migrants in these lands. We will never forget, no matter how many years it happens. There's a saying that we might cross the river, but they cross the ocean. And so, just to keep it real, and again, for me, it's a business. I see that what's happening too is not only the criminalization of migrant people, but they're trying to make a business out of it. We know, Trump and the Trump administration, the connection with the geo groups, which is basically private companies. They own detention centers, who are not going to be funded by this administration. And new detention centers are opening in different parts of the U.S. Even in places where they prohibit, somehow are now popping up open. So again, it's a business. It's a business. They're trying to incarcerate our people, criminalize our people, just like have they done black and brown people in the prison industrial complex. It's another business for the businessmen, for folks who create the laws. Put us behind bars for trying to reach that American dream.
Ashay. Weston, you want to weigh in on? No. Dee?
It's migrants and their labor. that have made America great, then and now.
Mm. So yeah, I mean we're just in a lot of grief right now, for so many reasons. But I do want to just lift up the fact that right here in Deep East Uchun, where we're unselling the small part of Mama Earth, and walking alongside all of our family and our relatives and our fellow organizers right here in Deep East Oakland, we're all saying no to ICE. And we're walking into that no in every different way that it is. But we do need to know and do need to keep grounding ourselves in the fact that what is sanctuary land? And what does sanctuary even mean? And we grapple with that as houseless people as well. And we say sanctuaries, not sweeps. And the ways that these are so connected, the ways that colonial terror happens to our relatives from Palestine to, Ecuador and Chile and Colombia and Mexico, but it happens right here. And that the same settler government is pulling the same lie and the same terror on us. And also for relatives to keep remembering that this colonial terror is repeating itself
Yes.
over and over again.
Yes,
right?
nothing new.
Right? For those of you who don't know about the monster that is Joe Arpaio, I want to
Right.
bring people back.
Right.
Who remembers Sheriff Joe?
That
Yes.
part. It's a really important
Racist.
piece, right? It's an important piece of history and
Racist piece of art.
history to name right now, because some people don't understand that this template of going after literally houseless people or migrante people first and then everybody else next
Mm.
was the exact same playbook they pulled in so-called Arizona, aka
Right.
occupied Pueblo land, right, in the 90s. People don't know, but there was a place in Phoenix, Arizona, so-called Phoenix, where he came in and created up a gated no zone, basically, where he would throw up barriers. And this is Sheriff Joe, every day at 9 o'clock at night, around a 2-block radius where all the shelter services were and all the houseless people went to get services. And so he would kettle all the houseless people into this 2-block radius. And at 6 a.m, they would open the gates and arrest everybody and put them in jail. It was the most insane thing. And what they did to create an ongoing population is magically over 200 of the last vestige of poor people housing, the SROs in downtown Phoenix, burned up magically, and nobody knew why. And so you had this ready population of houseless people to attack, predate, and incarcerate. Right after he tried that out, he went out and started essentially incarcerating, predating, racially profiling, and arresting indigenous migrante relatives from the other side of the false border. So this playbook has been done way too many times before by these settler terrorists. Don't get it twisted. There's nothing new under the settler sun. So that said, it's listening to PNN KEXU 96.1 FM. There's a lot of grief going on in the world right now, but I wanted to lift up that in that grief, we also have art. We also have our resistance.
Yes.
And that sometimes is the only thing that keeps us going, relatives. I know Mute wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Well, just because I'm also listening from the elders, as we're going through these drastic times, painful times, like my sister Tiny is saying, there's also that fierceness of our community, that unity, that warriorship, that in these times our people rise up to the occasion. And so I want to also salute the folks again who are standing, just like our young folks who went to the Colonize Academy, just for the folks who are around the U.S. are going and literally also putting their bodies on the line, again, being mindful of the privilege if you have it. But I want to be. I seen some privileged folks literally, blocking and using the privilege to the fullest. I want to salute that because this is what's necessary. That unity across privilege and class, right? Just want to close by saying that too. As we're going through this, we also are becoming more community. We're becoming more unified. We're also doing our own in the ground, underground, in the ground and underground, on both and on all levels. And you best believe there's some powerful poetry already. That my sister have busted, and the beautiful songs and beautiful resistance. There are people created under these circumstances.
Oh, my deal. And that's a beautiful segue, Mote, to talk about a couple things. First of all, some of you have heard us talking about this beautiful movie that we created. We say we ain't acting, we live in. Houseless people creating our own art about our own lives, because we don't need any more about us without us fetishizing art and theater and movie industry crap. We have our own stories. We have our own her stories, and we have our own ways of expressing those. So I urge people to come out to the last trailer screening of Crushing Wheelchairs in Oakland in our beautiful sister movement, Eastside Arts Alliance. It'll be on Thursday, September 25th at 6 p.m. We'll also be having a panel on hate, politics, and resistance, because in Occupy Uchun, they're about to put something into the settler laws. It says it's basically illegal to be houseless. Now, let's not get it twisted. It's always been illegal to be houseless in the United Snakes of occupied Americland, right? That's nothing new. But codifying the law in a way that actually names that if you are seen on the street in the places where we dwell, where we're forced to dwell because we don't have money for the lie of rent, you will be arrested, just period. They're towing our vans in both Occupied Yalamu, Frisco, and now going to be doing the same exact playbook in Oakland. If you park more than 2 hours or whatever, you risk a tow. It's many times all that we have left. That's what me and Mom, hid in a hoopty for months at a time, if we were lucky enough to have one, because when we didn't, we were in a doorway or in a bus shelter. So they'll be taking that. And then if the normal requisite 72-hour noticing, they're not going to do that anymore. So essentially what that really means is they're just rolling up on people, and they'll be arresting, throwing away our belongings, harassing, predating, and profiling us. Let's not also get it twisted. The majority of houseless relatives in Occupied Uchun, Oakland, are Black, disabled, and elders. So yeah, you incarcerated your grandma, your auntie, your grandpa, your uncle, your tia, your tío. That's what you're doing. Sold out, folks. That's what you're doing. But we don't care anymore, right? Because we're not human anymore on the street when we don't have access to the lie of rent. So we urge you to come out to this panel, because for us at Poor Magazine and Wood Street Commons, our family, we'll be talking about our resistance, right? And then similarly on that weekend, we'll be down in Occupied Tavangar. Shout out to Etna Street Solidarity and all our relatives at Claiming Our Homes and warriors down there. We'll be at All Power Books. We'll be at Midnight Books. We'll be at a Health and Equity Summit. We'll be at Tia Chucha's, the beautiful space launched by our spiritual Tio, Luis Rodriguez. And we'll be sharing the trailer and talking about resistance with Etna Street Solidarity. So join us the last weekend of September. But let's talk a little bit about getting you ready for tomorrow. For any of you all who aren't going to the hearing tomorrow, please do if you can. It's at 11 a.m. at the Settler Hall called City Hall. And we need as many folks as we can to speak up against this violence. And because we also have our resistance through our poetry and our her stories, we're going to give you a little inspiration for showing up tomorrow at 11 a.m. at Oakland City Hall. D.
From my fourth book, Skeletal Black, Poems from Beneath the Poverty Line. From pages 16 to 18, this is based on actual events from my own life. This is called Between Homes. About more times than I could count, all 10 fingers, all 10 toes, I have lived between homes, existed in that all too common space of homelessness indoors. A friend's apartment, a friend's company, their living room couch where I've sought rest in the meantime, their wooden floor where my luggage sat, their lavatory where I cleansed my lean self from woolly black head to toe, in the shower and shaved over their face bowl, their kitchen where I warmed up or slapped together vegetarian miracles to please my tongue with. A temporary arrangement that had grown too old too soon, tested the limits of friendship, yielded no privacy. But time spent upon a couch I'd visited often, sure enough beats. The parking lot asphalt hard against your back, the commands of harassing cops. Go, move, kick rocks. The jail-like atmosphere of public shelters, the shelter curfew that traps you in at nightfall and kicks you out at daybreak. The fear of having your luggage stolen in your sleep by far needier hands. The unspoken hate in another's eyes upon seeing you carry luggage and sleeping bag down this street and that. The unhoused condition outdoors, the housed assume won't happen to them. About more times than I could count. All 10 fingers, all 10 toes, I have lived between homes. Existed in that all too common space between the last home and the one home to come.
Oh.
Between homes.
Whee! Again, Dion is one of the powerful poets in the Crushing Wheelchairs movie, in addition to so many others, Luis Rodriguez, Tongo, Ayodele Nzinga, and many more. But these poems are to inspire and to lift you up as you walk into the grief of the settler terror of making our bodies houseless just for being outside, and how that equates our lives with no longer being human. This is for my houseless sisters and my houseless mamas from Luchun to Palestine. Do you hear the whisper of the sick? Us disabled and dumped, homeless? Us murdered babies in Hassa and Han Yunis? The murdered doctors lost to genocidal hits? Do you hear the whisper? Do you hear the screams? Homeless and sick on marked streets lined with settler death? From Palestine to forced homelessness. Our houseless mamas crept across Hassa, across Turtle Island trauma, to not be seen, to not be bombed, to not be swept. You see, the connections are clear. It's Hassa every day if you houseless here. God forbid we stop to rest or try to sleep or put up a tent or breathe. We are dead if we were seen. The bombs will stop. The police will be called. I try to hide. I look for somewhere, a lean-to, a tarp, a doorway, just to stay alive. I scream up to martyred warriors, holding on to every sacred tear. Our babies, we have lost so many, we can't even talk. The sacred hearts melt the deadly bombs and trucks that never stop coming for us. From Hassa to right around the corner in a tent with us houseless mamas, it's unspeakable. and yet we speak. It's unscreamable, and still we scream. It's unteachable until we teach and march and speak and scream. Do you hear the whispers? Do you hear the screams of martyr babies and houseless elder ladies? Raise fists and arms. This is the fight of warriors, and we will not stop until all the bombs can't drop and all the hospitals are safe for the nurses and the sacred docks, and our tents stop being stolen and lost, and no one is swept, and there is no more settler genocidal death. Do you hear the whispers? Do you hear the screams? Because the mamas hold babies while their hearts bleed, and the ancestor mamas and the doctors try to treat, and the houseless mamas fight off the sweeps, and we hold each other in a river of tears, and we weep from Hassa to right down the street. Oh, my dear.
Oh,
All right. Thank you, family.
So that's all for this broadcast of Poe People's Radio. You can follow us on Facebook, X, or Instagram at Poe Magazine, at Poverty Scholar, and Poe News Network on YouTube. You can also get this complete Poe People's Radio podcast with all the interviews and conversations or any of our previous archive shows on Apple Music, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts. All power to the people.
Oh, power.
all power to the people.
Thank you, family.